Few people that claim CBD doesn't work for me, which is completely fair and might be true. However, a lot of the time when I've asked questions, the answers have hinted to why it might not have worked for them. Before presuming your CBD oil isn't working, consider the following reasons. Number 1, small dosages. The issue might not be your fault, as I do find the recommended dosage on CBD oil packaging wildly different at times. It must be very confusing for consumers. Some will recommend taking a single drop, while others will recommend taking drops 3 times per day. Some may say a couple of drops at a time, while others will recommend taking a 1 ml dropper. The difference in the dosages, considering the quantity of CBD and the size of the tincture, can mean they might recommend 2 milligrams of CBD or 40 milligrams of CBD. Without pointing fingers, I remember tasting a CBD oil back in 2019 and the recommended dose in the packaging was 2 milligrams per day, which personally I don't feel would make any difference at all. To compare, I started out taking 20 milligrams of CBD per day, whereas I increased my dosage over time as my tolerance built, eventually eating 40 to 50 milligrams of CBD per day. You wouldn't take a fraction of a paracetamol if you had a headache. The same can be said here. Number 2, not from a reliable company. The reason I started CBD Sloth was because there were a lot of cowboy brands back in early 2019 refusing to show their lab reports, utilising hemp grown in China, which didn't use organic methods and were just after a quick buck. The cannabinoid profile in your CBD oil can vary drastically to another CBD oil. There has also been a couple of TV shows where they lab tested a few brands' products and found significantly less than the stated dosage on the packaging. This is why it is important not just to check the lab reports, but to ensure it matches the batch code for the product you've received. If a brand ever refuses to provide a lab report, run to the hills, as you shouldn't trust them. These lab reports are third-party tested. They can also cover details such as whether it contains pesticides, microbials, or heavy metals. Number 3, giving up after 1 dosage. While you might not notice a positive effect from your CBD oil on the first night, in general it is recommended to be patient, as you should see a continued improvement, as the effects aren't often instant, requiring consistent dosage. By taking a daily dosage, you will have a continued supply of cannabidiol into your system. Instead of giving up, I'd recommend trying it out for a period of time and record how you felt each day and what effects it had for you. Many people I've spoken to found that it took around 2 weeks before they really felt the optimal results from taking CBD oil. Number 4, heightened expectations. When I discussed with a friend what I largely use CBD oil for, I highlighted that it helps me to sleep personally. But it doesn't work like traditional sleep treatments. It won't make you feel drowsy and tired. Instead, it can help me clear my mind of stress and anxiety, and you can potentially fall asleep quicker. However, if you're going in thinking this is the cure-all treatment for everything, then you'll be disappointed. It's not a quick fix. You should be trying to have a healthy life and focus on removing stress from your life. That's why I try to highlight that CBD oil should be accompanied by a focus on personal well-being. Number 5, use a different consumption method. I personally prefer CBD oil, but everyone's body is different. What works for one person might not work for someone else. I'm not a huge fan of vaping in general, however I also have to admit that I felt the results of vaping CBD much quicker than any other consumption method. While vaping can offer a quick solution, some people prefer gummies for the taste and ease of taking them. Alternatively, if you're focused on a certain body area, you may be taking a cream or muscle recovery balm. Number 6, not holding it under the tongue for long enough. I watched a YouTuber who launched his own CBD brand and he was showing how to take CBD oil in a video and he just swallowed it whole. I was perplexed. He ran his own CBD brand and he didn't even understand about sublingual consumption. So anyway, once you drop the CBD oil into your mouth, you should hold it liquid under your tongue so it can be absorbed into your bloodstream before swallowing the rest. When I started in the industry, every CBD brand had 20 seconds under the tongue written on their packaging. One of the things I'm most proud of is that I've largely got that to change throughout the CBD industry. When reading studies on other products, they recommend holding the liquids under your tongue for 1 to 2 minutes for optimal results. I've therefore been recommending this with CBD oil, and now the packaging on virtually all the big brands have changed to this figure. One of the big mistakes I made when providing my friends with CBD oil was forgetting to tell them to drop it under the tongue, and when discussing later they admitted they just poured it straight down their throat. Oops. 7, tolerance levels too high. Okay, one group could be people who take cannabis in another form, and I won't go into this, but you can imagine what I mean. However, some people are simply genetically built to have a higher tolerance level, and you may require a different quantity than people around you. As always, rather than jump it up, the recommendation is to go low and build slowly until you find your magic point. It doesn't work for everyone. Okay, this is a tame reason, but it's also 100% true. This might not be the solution for you, and it could be worth looking at alternative options. I wanted to highlight the other reasons before giving up and look at alternatives, But the reality is CBD oil won't work for everyone. If you're in a high stress job, then you might find no quantity of CBD oil will help you sleep until you deal with the issues around your job.